Talking about stories ripped from the headlines, our next guest is a criminal trial attorney and the legal analyst of Death by Fame. It's an investigation discovery series that is taking a deeper look at Hollywood's biggest true crime cases. Now in its second season, Sara Azari leads the series through cases like the speculation that the godfather of soul, James Brown, was murdered. It has headlines all across the country. People are talking about it. Please welcome to the Tam Fam, Sara Azari. Sara, thank you so much for joining. Thank you. I cannot open my phone and look at a Instagram or anything without someone talking about this series. The James Brown headline. James Brown died in 2006. His official cause of death was what?
It was complications of pneumonia. It was congestive heart failure. But of course, this episode highlights maybe it was murder.
I mean, that's not a small thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the most famous musicians of all time.
Right.
And there is speculation and this theory of something sinister involving him.
So the interesting thing, and I didn't know this like most people, I thought he died of a heart attack in the hospital room. But a nurse had come forward and said that two unknown men had walked into his room and walked out, and that shortly after that he died. And so the question was he overdosed? They never did an autopsy. And, you know, autopsies are very invasive. There are normal reasons why people refuse autopsies, and Brown's family did not want an autopsy.
I have a clip of the show. Let's play it.
The witness reported Brown told his personal manager, "They got me," as he took his last breath. When you hear something so cryptic like "they got me," it can be one or more individuals who may have been in that hospital room, as the nurse reported. On the other hand, it could be my conditions got the best of me, you know, the fluid, the congestive heart failure, the cardiac arrest, like all of these conditions that he was dealing with finally got me.
Okay, so again, this is one of the most famous entertainers of all time.
Yeah.
And that this is coming out now is shocking to me.
Right.
The other element here is that another family member, James Brown's son-in-law, Darren Lumar, was murdered. That was 2 years after James Brown's death.
Right, fairly, you know, shortly after his death, and he was definitely murdered, and he was at the helm of these conspiracy theories about Brown being murdered. So then there's this mystery of, does his murder have something to do with Brown's death, or is it completely unrelated?
What is the goal of opening the case in this way?
I think, you know, the goal of the series and every episode is to show that there is a dark side to fame. There's a price for fame. The idea that you draw sinister people, money is always a motive for murder,
right?
You know, and so there's a price for that. And I think, you know, I'm Angelino, I'm from Los Angeles. People come to my town thinking that it's all glitz and glamour,
right?
And it's not. And so that's the mission of the show.
I know another case you look at is Lurana Esquire, a former LA police officer turned criminal defense attorney who became a star of her own reality show on the Sundance Channel before being murdered in 2015 by her boyfriend. Let's take a look.
Lurana Esquire is a perfect example of an OcuSoap. It's a documentary that follows people in a certain occupation. And it also brought in her personal relationship with her boyfriend and the father of her kid, Robert Regan. Robert was previously married and had 2 children from his first marriage. Even though he was never married to Lurana, they really lived as husband and wife, and they had a son together who was about 4 at the time.
Robert was the longest relationship she had.
Wow. So in this case of Lurana, she wasn't an international star like James Brown, but there are these cautionary tales still behind it.
Yeah, because Tamron, today, being a star can be on YouTube. It can be on social media. It can be reality TV. But in reality TV, all of the ugliness, all of your privacy is on full display. And that's exactly what happened here. And when she was stabbed to death and Regan was to stand trial, a lot of the material from the reality TV series came in as evidence.
Wow.
So this episode was really interesting for me as a criminal defense attorney because it not only highlights this idea of the dark side of fame, but also, you know, an American epidemic, which is domestic violence, and how that can escalate to death.
Wow. Well, the series, you have everybody talking, all of our eyes and our attention. Thank you so much for joining us on this. The series is called Death by Fame. It airs on Investigation Discovery Mondays at 9, 8 Central, and you can catch Sara on her true crime podcast, The Presumption.